What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big John and G, the Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. Good to see you back. Alright, so I had a lot of fun with the unboxing of Underleague by Fergus Blair and Cogwright Games. The art is amazing. Now, I showed you how to do the setup. Woof! Easy, fast. You got it. Now, we got to figure out how we're going to play the game. That's where this step in the process comes in, my friends. So we're going to get everything set up again, because I had to clear some stuff off, had to do a couple of other things. So I'm going to get it set back up on the table again, and that should be pretty darn fast. And then we're going to get right to this how to play video, because I think me and the 20-sided warriors are going to be playing this. I think we are. I know we are. Alright, so let's check this out. I got to figure out how to play it if I'm going to teach it to them and you. Alright, I'll see you all down at the table. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to start with a little bit of card anatomy before we get into the phases of the game and how it's played and how it's won. There are 3 different types of creature cards: Beast, Construct, and Spirit. You can tell the difference by the colors that are in the value area. The value area is the number in the center bottom of the card. The very top center is the creature's name. On either side of the creature's name, there is a number. The number on the left-hand side is its daytime combat value. The number on the right side is its nighttime combat value. And then at the bottom, underneath the value number, you'll see that there's effects. Not every creature has effects, but those that do, make sure you read and you know what they are. There are 2 types of strategy cards: schemes and equipment. You can tell the equipment because they have a value in the bottom center, similar to the creature cards. The number in the top right-hand corner is the card's cost, what it costs in strategy cards in your hand to bring into play. But we'll get into more of that very soon. Now, keep in mind that simultaneous decisions will be made by the first player. The active player will always be the first when simultaneous decisions between players must be made. When one player has multiple actions or simultaneous actions that they can take on their turn, they themselves get to decide which order the multiple and simultaneous actions will take place. And lastly, keep in mind that you can never go above a hand size of strategy cards higher than 8. If you're told to draw a card, a strategy card, and you already have 8, you cannot draw a card. You do not draw and discard down to 8. You simply cannot draw that card. The game is broken up into 3 phases: the preseason phase, the betting phase, and the combat phase. The preseason phase is 3 parts. Part 1 will be skipped during the very first round of the game. Part 1. Calculate victory points. At this point, all the players will add up their victory points and announce their scores. So you would add up your victory cards, which remember you never look at. You never look at the victory cards. They always remain face down. So in this case, there are 4, and you add that with the value of the monsters in your stables, which would be 1, 2, 3 with the 4. So currently, if this is a player's stable and victory points, they would have 7. Now, if any player or players at this point have 20 or more points, the game comes to an end. Part 2. Hey. Determine the first player. The player with the lowest victory points will be the first player moving forward during this round. Ties go to the player with the fewest cards, and if it's still a tie, determine randomly. Which, if this is the very first round of the game, that is exactly what you are going to do, since nobody has anything in their hands but their starting cards, which would be a tie. So it would be determined randomly at the beginning of the game. If it is the very first round of the game, then the next part, the mustering, will be skipped, and you will go straight to the betting phase. If this is not your first round, then you will do the mustering. During mustering, each player, starting with the active player, the first player, will do each of the following in order. In order. First, you get to change any and all of your exhausted creatures to active. So any creature that was used in the combat will be able to be active once more. You may draw a number of strategy cards equal to your chip count. In this example, red has 3 chips, so they would be able to draw 1, 2, 3 strategy cards from the deck. If all of your monsters in your stable, let's just say that instead of the spirit and the beast, let's say it was all constructs. They're all red. Then you would be lucky enough to draw another strategy card. Now remember, you cannot draw a strategy card if you already have 8 in your hand. Any chips that you have used will now be collected and put back into your pool. And lastly, during mustering, each player has a choice. They may either invest in strategies, which will allow them to draw an additional 2 strategy cards, up until a maximum hand of 8, remember. Or they can instead decide to transfer a creature. When you transfer a card, you are getting rid of it. You're trading in this creature for a new creature. So, let's say the Clockwork Lich. You're going to take it and you're going to put it at the bottom of your deck. Then, you will secretly draw 3 cards without letting the other players see what they are. And then you will decide which one that you want to take. The other 2 will be put at the bottom of your deck in whatever order you want. And that's how you transfer. I do want to note, though, keep in mind that if you have a creature that has a or more, if it has any number of attached items, they're gone. They're gone. Goodbye. They do not get transferred over. However, any chips that are on it stay. Now we get to move on to the betting phase. Now it always starts with the first player. The active player will always start. And the active player is going to take one of their chips and they're going to place it on any one of their creatures. Now this is for the first betting round only, before it comes back around to you, because you only get to place 1 chip at a time. So the very first time you will have to choose one of your own to place a win or lose side. All players will do this for the first time. And then, moving forward, you will do it to any creature you want, win or lose. You just cannot double bet yourself. So you cannot put this where there's already another red chip if you're the red player. You could put it on a black one, but you couldn't put it on another red one. And this will continue. This will go around until all the players have used their chips back and forth. And then the betting phase is over. During the combat phase, each player, starting with the first player, the active player, is going to be able to make one or both actions. They may either make a challenge or play a strategy card. Make a challenge. To make a challenge, a player performs the following actions in order, my friends. First, they're going to choose one of their creatures, one of their active creatures, to be the attacking creature. In this case, let's say we want to choose the Governor's Jailer. Of course, we got the Governor's Jailer all blinged out with some extra super shiny trinkets, making the 2 value a total of a 3. Then that player will choose any active creature controlled by the opponent. That creature will be the defending creature, such as this Silver Skin Wyvern. The Governor's Jailer, blinged out with extra super shiny trinkets, to be taking on the Silver Skin Worm. The defending player, gets to choose whether the encounter happens at night or during the day. The defending player with the Silver Skin Worm decides that it will be at night. Both players then look at the night value, the right-handed number at the top of the character card, the creature card. That number will determine the dice rolled. In this case, the red player with the Governor's Jailer has a night value of 2. You always start, by the way, with the highest value die. So the value 2 means that 2 dice are going to be used. So the red player gets to start with a 6-sided die and with a 4-sided die. Now the black player with the Silver Skin Worm, Wyvern, has a 1 value. Again, remember, as I said, you always start with the highest value die, so that player would get to roll a 6-sided die. And these are the dice that you are going to roll in combat. And the highest value, you got a 1 and a 1 snake eyes on this. He's going to roll against this with a 3. In this case, the red player is the winner. Although the red player rolled a 2, and the black player rolled a 3, the red player has a 3-point modifier due to the extra super shiny trinket. So this 2 becomes a 5. Now the first thing the winning player gets to do is to collect their winning chips. And those chips are the winning chips according to the creatures that we're just fighting. So in this case, the red player bet that the Governor's Jailer would win in a fight, and that the Silver Skin Worm would also win, which it did not. So the red player will not get that chip back, just the 1 chip that they were correct about. The defeated creature gets exhausted. Oh, that was a tiring fight. I am exhausted. Also, because the attacking player won, the attacking player gets a victory card. Now remember, your victory cards, you never look at them. You never look at them. Well, I mean, I guess you could look at them at the end of the game, but you didn't hear that from me. Shh. Now, if the defender had won, the defender would not get a victory card. Only the attacking player, if that player wins, is eligible to be given a victory card. Instead of issuing a challenge and proceeding to combat, you could also play a strategy card. Now remember, you can also do both. Now if you play a strategy card, it's going to depend on what type of the two you are playing. If you wish to play an equipment card, such as an optical implant, well then, my friends, you can only do that before making a challenge or after resolving the challenge. You cannot equip this during a fight. Scheme cards may have additional timing restrictions. However, generally speaking, you can only play them before making a challenge, after the defending player chooses the type of fight, but before the dice have been rolled, after the dice have been rolled, but before any re-rolls, if eligible, have been rolled, after re-rolls have been declared, but before they have been rolled, after attacking and the defending players have re-rolled their dice, but before a winner of the challenge has been declared, or after resolving a challenge. Make sure to perform the following steps in order. The player will announce that they are using a strategy card, and they will reveal it from their hand, such as objection. Pay the cost of the card as seen in the number in the top right-hand corner. In this case, it is a 0, so you got pretty lucky. But if it was a 1, 2, or 3, then that is how many strategy cards from your hand that you are going to have to discard in order to be able to play this strategy card from your hand. Now, if it is a scheme, then you are immediately going to follow the instructions on the scheme card. If it is an equipment card, you will announce which of your creatures it will be attached to. And again, remember, you must always pay the cost. In this case, the optical implant would cost you 1 strategy card from your hand into the discard pile. Play will continue from the first player, the active player, to the player on their left, and then the player on that player's left, and so on. And you will continue playing as many cards as you want to play. On each of your turns, you will continue, and this will go on until a full circuit is passed, where every player has passed and has done nothing. And at this point, it brings us back full circle, my friends, to the pre-season phase. Now, remember, at the beginning of the pre-season phase, which you skipped if this was your very first round, that you will calculate the victory points. And you add up the victory points by adding up all the victory point cards you have collected thus far, plus the value, including any equipment value, for your creatures. So 1 card, 3 value, 4, 6, 9, 12, and 0. So 12. So currently the red player has 12 victory points. If any player at this point has 20 or more victory points, the game is over, my friends. And the player with the highest points will be the winner. If at this point 2 or more players have 20 or more victory points, then the tie will be broken by the player with the most strategy cards in their hand. They will be declared the winner. Now, if this is still a tie, then what can I tell you, my friends? It's a draw. And all players, all parties concerned get to celebrate. And that's it, my friends. That is it. The game goes by very fast. The phases go by, and with the gambling aspect of it, it brings it a different level of strategy. You're not just looking to defeat another opponent's monster, but you're also hoping to bet correctly on it. It's a nice little twist to something that could have just been a Rock'em Sock'em style game. Well, me and the 20-Sided Warriors are going to be playing this, and I hope we're going to be live streaming it. We should be. But even if we don't, you're at least going to hear their thoughts on it after the first game with their 20-sided shots. Very cool, everyone. So that was it. Thank you, everyone, for going over to our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter, and checking out and seeing what it is that we do over there. Thank you also goes out to everyone that's been checking out the Two Gun Pixie Zazzle store, a print-on-demand store with tons of cool images for hats and mugs and shirts and steins and mouse pads and bumper stickers and a whole lot more. Thank you for going over and taking a look, and thank you to anyone that has bought something over there. Thank you so much. But not as much as thank you all for right here on YouTube. Coming to our home here on YouTube, subscribing to our channel, watching our videos, commenting and liking, and most of all, wow, thank you for sharing our videos. And please remember, share videos of any content creator when you see something that you like and you enjoy. Please, it's a great way to tell them that you enjoyed it. Well, I'm your buddy Big Johnny G, the Two Gun, barely fits in the screen, the Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming, and my friends, I am out of here. Can't wait to play it.